Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, my friend Gina Raimondo, Ambassador Meg, all ladies and gentlemen in the room, it is now my singular honor to welcome our brilliant and visionary President, to welcome the delegates and to make his remarks. May we be upstanding. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Please, let's take our seats. Minister Gina Raimondo, Excellencies, honorable members, distinguished delegates, this is yet another opportunity when we congregate in this very important occasion of AMCHAM. Earlier, I mentioned to my sister Raimondo that we are a deeply religious country, and rain is godly. So you couldn't have had a better endorsement of your visit and what you are saying than from the gods. So take pride in the fact that it's raining, and rain comes with a lot of blessing, and we have a lot of attachment to rain. I take this opportunity to warmly welcome all the delegates to Nairobi for the 2024 AMCHAM Business Summit, which is the 4th edition of the U.S. East Africa Trade and Investment Forum Summit that is first and foremost a premier gathering and first took place in 2018. Your presence here is a strong affirmation of the momentum we have built over the course of 3 previous summits, and of the fact that we are not only making steady progress in raising Kenya's appeal as a trading partner and investment destination, but also that this very fact is eliciting attention and favorable responses in the right places, both locally here in Kenya and broadly globally. This matters a great deal to us for the reason that the government of Kenya made a solemn commitment to eradicate unemployment, poverty, hunger, disease, and inequality by embarking on a radical plan for job and wealth creation under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, as many Kenyans sitting here would know. The bottom-up economic transformation agenda is premised on the intentional creation of a conducive environment for the private sector to invest in attractive opportunities in various value chains and to participate more directly in implementation of programs and projects under public-private partnerships and other economic arrangements. This is to say that the private sector is vital and, in fact, indispensable to the successful transformation of Kenya under our plan. Last year's summit, which was attended by more than 1,200 delegates from the US, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, and Ethiopia, facilitated many companies to strike deals which enabled them to initiate or expand their presence in Kenya and our region in East Africa. Consequently, Kenya was able to unveil investments from Mass, Intimates, Mega, Coast Apparels, UAL, Best Corporation, Coniho Elastics, NextGen, and CCI Global, who are now major drivers of Kenya-US trade. At the same summit, 11 US government grants to the private sector were announced, aimed at integrating over 1 million farmers into existing value chains, totaling more than US dollars 5.6 million. Additionally, 10 collaborative development initiatives between the government of Kenya and the US private sector were announced, intended to enable 4,700 entrepreneurs to access capital for activities benefiting close to 110 farmers in different counties in the Republic of Kenya. All these encouraging accomplishments made at last year's summit were as a result of productive collaboration between the government of Kenya and the US Embassy, led by my elder sister, Meg. We all agree that we have difficulty whether she represents Kenya or she represents the US. And we have settled that she represents all of us. It was also collaboration with the US Department of Commerce and the regional AMCHAM, such as AMCHAM Uganda, AMCHAM Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, and Ethiopia. The 2024 summit's theme, Catalyzing the Future of US-East Africa Trade and Investment, intentionally draws on the previous editions to develop a strategic platform for commercial advocacy, which will strengthen bilateral trade relations between Kenya and the US, as well as between our region and the US. The consistent strengthening of Kenya-US ties and that of our region is exemplified by the steady growth in the value of bilateral trade, especially its acceleration between 2015 and 2022, when Kenya's negative trade deficit narrowed significantly from Kenya shillings 85 billion in 2015 to Kenya shillings 13 billion in 2022. It is our intention that that gap will shortly close. And the next time we have this occasion, hopefully in the coming years, we will be talking a different language. The pace of growth in Kenya-US trade affirms the vast opportunity that exists for growth of Kenyan exports and expansion of their variety, with very real possibility of broadening a positive balance of trade. This ambition and the immense role of the private sector in it informs the vision of a new trade and investment arrangement with the US under the Strategic Trade and Investment Partnership, STEEP. And we all know that there is acceleration of negotiations and collaboration in that space so that we can unlock the tremendous potential that it portends, not just for Kenya, not just for our region, but for the US as well. For some time now, Kenya has been focused on pursuing trade relations with the US beyond AGOA. Consequently, we entered negotiations to develop a new framework to anchor bilateral trade and thus launched STEEP, which is aimed at enhancing our engagements in trade and investment and facilitating high standard commitments in a wide range of sectors. It is our hope that the ongoing negotiations on outstanding issues will be conducted in a few months to enable us embark on the implementation of STEEP, possibly by the second half of this year. I am very happy that the ministry responsible for commerce in Kenya and the US are thinking of an MOU and a relationship between the two ministries so that we can leverage on it to do more, even as we look forward to not just the renewal of AGOA, which we are crossing our fingers, and Raimondo has given me some ideas on what we need to do to get it over the line. The strong presence of major US investments and their contribution to a broad variety of sectors, both in Kenya and throughout our region in East Africa, is undeniable. US companies in Kenya continue to excel through effective partnerships with both the government as well as local private sector firms to implement diverse projects and enhance access to energy and power, develop infrastructure, create state-of-the-art manufacturing plants, develop local supply and value chains, and support Kenya's digital transformation. You are invited to seriously consider and engage with a wide range of investment opportunities available in various agro-industrial value chains and other sectors that my Ministry of Trade will point. These opportunities are available in numerous agro-industrial value chains to produce medical commodities and biomedical supplies locally, deliver digital infrastructure and last-mile fiber optic connectivity, construct 250,000 new housing units annually over the next 5 years, and develop our micro, small, and medium enterprise sector, a whole ecosystem of thousands of enterprises. More critically, I invite you to also consider the intentional measures we have taken as a country to develop the necessary conditions for private sector growth, including creating a stable, transparent, and predictable business environment. Our achievements and progress in this regard are reflected in Kenya's steady rise in various global indices and rankings that measure the quality of investment climate and business environment. We have not stopped working on our institutional frameworks through legislative and regulatory interventions, as well as capacity building and effective coordination of stakeholders and strategies to elevate our investment profile. I give a commitment here for the benefit of our existing and incoming investors that the business environment and the business climate in Kenya will keep getting better and better because we will not stop making improvements. I have had extensive engagements with our own private sector. We have discussed extensively some of the issues they think government can do better. And I say so especially because during my engagements with a number of industry leaders and major players, the issue of our regulatory posture was underscored as an important concern. We have delivered on this space. We had 9 items that we discussed with the private sector here at AMCHAM last year. We've delivered on each and every one of them. And I want to say every investment to us must make sense to both the investor and it must make sense to all our interventions in the trade and investment space. I also invite you to consider several other advantages which commend Kenya as your trade and investment destination of choice. To begin with, our location is an enduring strategic advantage that is difficult to beat. Our situation on Africa's Indian Ocean coast gives us immense reach and makes us the gateway to East Africa as well as the Southern and Central Africa region. Kenya is highly committed to regional and Pan-African economic integration and is a member of the East African Community, the Common Markets for East and Central Africa, and of course, the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, which confers preferential access to markets of 350 million people in EAC, 500 million people in COMESA, and 1.4 billion people market in ACFTA. Our geostrategic advantage has been complemented by a seamless network of highly developed roads, rail, port, and air infrastructure, and the fact that our country is a landing site to 6 undersea fiber cables, the only region in Africa. We have the potential to facilitate 24-hour operations in order to serve different time zones through efficient transport and communication infrastructure. A number of tech giants and business process outsourcing concerns are already seizing this advantage to great benefit. Kenya, as you all know, is a youthful country, growing younger every year. With a median age of 19.9, we have millions of well-educated, highly skilled, motivated young people ready to work for and with investors in every sector, from agribusiness to banking and finance, ICT, fintech, transport and manufacturing, construction and management, and administration, and everything in between. I will tell you that we spend $5 billion every year in the education of the Kenyan workforce. And we are proud of that investment, because if there is one asset we have as a nation, it is our human capital. Kenya is also served by a national grid that is 93% green, with geothermal, hydro, and wind power leading the power mix. By 2032, which is just a couple of years away from now, probably 8 years, we shall have a 100% clean grid to power sustainable growth. It is therefore no accident that every major global brand and every leading multilateral institution and philanthropic organization wishing to build a regional and African footprint starts in Kenya, or that Nairobi is the regional and global headquarters of many leading organizations. Any organization, any business that pays attention to sustainability must look out for where renewable energy is a factor. It is not an accident that Kenya is the cradle of cutting-edge digital innovations in fintech and other sectors, where mobile money was born right here in Kenya. We have the necessary conditions for trade and investment to thrive, enable our economy to conquer new territory, and break new records in time and time again. This is why we have laid down a comprehensive array of measures to leverage our competitive advantage and drive growth through robust fiscal, infrastructural, and regulatory measures. A number of firms represented here will already be familiar with our Special Economic Zones program, which is a convergence of optimal investment promotion, export processing, and other forms of facilitation to enable investors generate maximum value from their operations in Kenya. I had the occasion to visit some of these enterprises in the last few days, and we have a phenomenal relationship. The Special Economic Zones program represents a dedicated package of highly appealing fiscal, infrastructural, procedural, and regulatory incentives, which have led to a steady rise in Kenya's global appeal as an investment destination. Attractive tax incentives, high-quality infrastructure, simplified business procedures and regulations, as well as value chain integration and the promotion of expanded market access for goods produced in the zones are some of the compelling features for this competitive incentive package. Many iconic American brands, including Levi's, Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, Wrangler, are produced in our special economic zones. With the foregoing, it is clear that our regulatory posture is emphatically pro-business. This should be understood as an implicit or as implicit in all instances where there is doubt or misunderstanding regarding our business regulation or the legal and institutional framework. We are the country that is developing a framework to anchor the emergence of the Amazons and Google and Microsofts of the future under our startup bill, which is currently making its way through Parliament in Kenya. We are also the country which has introduced attractive tax incentives for investors, especially those involved in manufacturing for export. This is why we have been able to engage in fruitful consultations with a number of US and other private sector firms and to give assurance of a predictable tax environment, improved business context, and a regular and regulatory productive government-private sector engagement. This AMCHAM has given us a number of significant fast engagements, including with Walmart, resulting in 24 exploratory business-to-business meetings with farms involved in the agriculture production sectors like tea, coffee, nuts, and avocados, as well as apparel factories in our EPZs. Although exploratory, Walmart's foray into our country and region is indicative of the potential and operating environment we live in today. When I had an engagement with a representative of Walmart, I could see great opportunity, not just for Kenya, but for our region. It is also why we have been able to engage the American Tower Corporation, Microsoft, and Arbo Healthcare about deepening their partnership with local public and private sector organizations. Likewise, Marathon Digital have been ushered to consult with the National Treasury in Kenya on our cryptocurrency regime and to the Ministry of Energy to discuss its energy needs in connection with cryptocurrency mining here in Kenya. There is so much more to say about the progress and achievements, power and impact, as well as the presence and the future promise of a strong trade and investment relationship between Kenya and the US over the course of its historical development from a Goa renewal and onward into post-STEEP era. This is a strong testament of the vast transformative possibilities that exist in an expanded and comprehensive strategic understanding between the US, East Africa concerning trade and investment. This AMCHAM, ladies and gentlemen, has also fulfilled its thematic purpose of setting the pace for the rapid emergence of the new future we have envisioned together. It is time for us to proceed in confidence into this new paradigm, where you go, think Kenya. Where you think trade and investment, think about Kenya, because Kenya means business. What is more, Kenya is open for business, East Africa is ready for trade and investment, and Africa is ready for transformation. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. My very best wishes to all of you, and see you soon. Asante sana.
Your Excellency.